Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me for another episode today where I'm going to talk a little bit about design crossovers in the sports card hobby. This is going to be an episode that kind of caters to baseball collectors and also soccer collectors. And I'm going to tie the two sports together here, and I'm going to do so using my favorite soccer player of the 21st century, Leo Messi, who plays his club football now for PSG out of France, and of course represents Argentina nationally and just won the World Cup this past winter. So I've always been a Messi guy in the Messi versus Ronaldo debate, and as such I have collected him over the years. And I've got a trio of cards today. These are all relatively new cards. In all three cases, they're just from the last couple of years on the soccer front, but they're going to illustrate the concept of crossing a design over, across sports and across eras as well. And so the three cards that you see in front of you are kind of setting the stage on the baseball front, and we're going to look at their Leo Messi equivalents on the soccer front. So this will be kind of a fun exercise. So we're going to start with this card on the right. This is a 91 Donruss Nolan Ryan highlights card. That blue design that everybody recognizes, love it or hate it. Donruss definitely had bright, colorful cards in the early 90s between the red release in 1990 and then the blue and green in 91, etc. Very, memorable design. It's considered junk wax or boom wax era. The cards are not valuable, but it does carry a lot of nostalgia for people like myself who came into the hobby in the early 90s. So recently, Panini actually did a Donruss Road to the World Cup set, and they did an insert here that was a tribute to 91 Donruss. So here's a look at the Messi, and I think this is a job, well done by Panini here. This is a CSG 9 in this case, but, pretty faithful. It's not an exact replication, but it's really more done in the spirit of 91 Donruss, and it comes across that way. I mean, when I saw this card listed on the internet, ran across it for the first time, instantly could tell that it was, based on this design, and just brought me right back. So kind of a cool card there. I do like that it is a card that represents this World Cup in Qatar, where Messi finally reached the top of, the soccer mountain and got that World Cup title, which was honestly really the only thing missing from his resume, basically, as a player. So cool card in that sense. I like the image. The design is great. And then another little touch is we got a gold kind of banner in the bottom of this card, which is kind of modernizes it a bit. So it kind of, in my mind, it does a good job of bridging the gap between that classic, old school design and something that's new and a little bit different. So I think this one was well done. I'll definitely tip my cap to Panini for their effort on those 91 Donruss tribute parallels, or inserts, I should say. Next up, card in the middle here is a very recognizable set among many collectors' favorites on the baseball side of the house, the 1975 Topps release. Love this set myself. I can totally understand why it's, as popular as it is. Love the bold colors on the border, and very recognizable design. And Topps, in this case, replicated this set in the soccer world in their recent UEFA Champions League set. They put out a base set the past few years now for the UCL, just like they do for Major League Baseball. And in the 2021 release, they included these inserts called 75 Topps Footballers. So here is the Messi from that release as well. Pretty cool. And we get a little bit of variation here where in the first card from Panini, the Donruss card, he is in his Argentina kit, or representing Argentina. In this case, he is representing Paris Saint-Germain in his PSG kit. And a pretty faithful reproduction of 75 Topps. It's not a difficult design to replicate. Got the large team name up top, two bold colors on the side. Obviously, we have a soccer ball and a figure here in place of the 75 baseball design, but pretty good representation there. If we take a look at the back, not too bad either. This does not really in any way mirror a 75 Topps back, but still a nice clean looking back. And I'll at least give Topps credit for getting the front right. And I think that's, an interesting insert set. So I'd probably, hand it to Panini over Topps on these first two. And let's take a look at the back here as well. Again, neither of these companies really making much of an effort to match the backs up. I should have taken a base card out of my 91 box for Donruss representation, but point being, in those first two cards, the fronts look great, the backs look good, but are not really a representation of the original card backs at all. Oop. See if I can get this one to cooperate. All right, and that brings us to our third and final card. This is the very recognizable 93 Topps Finest set, the first ever Topps Finest release. This happens to be a refractor of Will Clark, but again, a set that is iconic, I would say, and really kind of changed the hobby and the landscape of the hobby by introducing super shiny cards to the masses. And again, in the past year, 2021, Topps did a Finest throwback set. I know they do these on the baseball front as well, but they only recently started doing them for the UEFA Champions League out of Europe. And here is the base card. Also picked this up in a PSA 9 of Leo Messi. And you can tell if we bring Will back here. The Messi that I have here is not a refractor. So you'll notice, the Clark is quite a bit shinier. But aside from that, pretty faithful representation of the original. Obviously just replacing baseball's finest with football's finest all-stars. Another great photo of Messi there. Not too bad, I like it. And in this case, the third and final one that we end with, I will also give Topps credit for doing a proper card back in the same retro design as that original 93 Finest release. So job well done by Topps on that Finest card. I think all three of these turned out pretty well. I appreciate these companies making an effort to kind of revive and involve designs of the past and inject them into the modern hobby. I think it's, fun in the same way that like Topps Archives baseball is. And I think it's a good way for new collectors or maybe younger collectors who weren't around to appreciate the designs that these are based off of, the first time around, to maybe get an introduction to those and in turn maybe develop a greater appreciation for those older sets that inspired these modern inserts. So that is my trio for today of Leo Messi slabs, each of which is a throwback to a design from the past. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will have more content like this coming. I have a couple of other ideas at least for design crossovers that I want to feature here on the channel. But for today, that's a wrap, and we'll be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. Till then, take care and enjoy the hobby, everybody.